about the United Nations Private Sector Advisory Group PSAG, Nigeria Cluster 5. The PSAG Nigeria Cluster 5 is committed to achieving the targets of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. The Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, inaugurated the PSAG Nigeria Cluster 5 in February 2017, comprising primarily private sector organizations and corporate foundations. Nigeria became the first UN member to inaugurate a local PSAG, mirroring the UN SDG Fund PSAG, i.e., PSAG Global, and other UN initiatives. PSAG Nigeria works closely with the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President of SDGs, also SDGs, and the UN to ensure the global goals are achieved in Nigeria. The PSAG Nigeria Cluster 5, the Director of Business of Agriculture Masterclass, covers the business and the manufacturing sector. The cluster is focused on SDG 2, Zero Hunger.
Good morning, everyone. You're welcome to today's session. I don't know if you can hear me. If you can, kindly type yes in the chat box. Good morning once again. Our sincere apologies about the break. Just before we went off, I was asking if everyone could hear me. If you can, kindly type yes in the chat box, please. Oh, fantastic. Thank you. So I'm delighted to welcome you all to day 2 of the Business of Agriculture Masterclass 3, being organized by the United Nations Private Sector Advisory Group, Nigeria Cluster 5. Thank you very much for joining. My name is Olaide Adesonya. It's an honor and privilege to moderate this session. Before we go on, we would like you to all to introduce yourself. Simply type your name, your location, in the chat box. We want to get to know you, want to be able to communicate with you after today's session. But may I warn that you should be circumspect about sharing your personal details online so that we're sure that we're all safe and keeping safe. Thank you very much for joining. The masterclass will cover 8 value chains. The program began yesterday with discussion on 2 value chains. We had farming fresh grains for your dreams, vegetable, and innovate and cultivate tech opportunities in agriculture. The sessions were really awesome. If by any chance you missed the sessions, please watch the replays on the PSAG Nigeria YouTube channel and their Facebook page. It would be awesome for you to watch, and so you can flow along with us without missing any of the days or any of the sessions. And it might also be a good idea for you to subscribe to their channel so you can get notifications once the session starts. You don't want to miss this. I'm sure my colleagues will post the YouTube and Facebook page links on the chat box on Zoom. and on the comment section on YouTube and Facebook. So if you're joining us for the first time today, I'd like to welcome you to the third in the series of the Business of Agriculture Masterclass. It's an annual virtual e-learning series designed by the PSAG Group Cluster 5. The Masterclass typically presents several opportunities in agriculture and how participants can take advantage of such opportunities to have additional streams of income, while also contributing to solving the problems of food insecurity and unemployment in Nigeria. The Masterclass aims to disseminate information on agriculture or agricultural business opportunities. I will be presenting seasoned professionals and industry experts, people who have honed their skills over the years. So I am bold to tell you that you're in the right place. So this morning, we're having a panel session on the business of nutrition and lifestyle. And we have two awesome ladies, two amazing women in our midst. We'll be introducing them very shortly. I'd like to provide some information in terms of how to make this really interactive for us. Like I said earlier, this event is being hosted on Zoom and live streamed on YouTube channel and Facebook pages of the PSAG Group in Nigeria. You are all welcome to today's session. So if you are joining us via Zoom, the features of in the chat box. You can also use emojis to express your feeling about this webinar. And then we have the Q&A box. Please, if you're asking questions, all your questions should go into the Q&A box. Don't put it on chat so that we don't miss any of your questions. And I assure you, in as much as time permits, we're going to respond to all your questions. If there's an opportunity for you to speak during the Q&A session, we ask that you kindly raise your hands so you have the opportunity to speak. However, as much as possible, let us post our questions to the Q&A box. For our participants on Facebook and YouTube, you also have the opportunity to interact by sending your comments, contributions, and questions on the comment section of YouTube and Facebook. Please be minded that these are open platforms. We live in perilous times. Be very careful about sharing your personal details. Thank you very much. In addition, we have a link for participants on YouTube and Facebook for you to fill an attendance form and complete the polls that we're going to have during the sessions. It is important for you to submit the form so that we know that you're indeed a part of this group. And you know, there are going to be opportunities for us to interact thereafter. So submission of your questions, of your registration form ensures that we're able to contact you after this session. Thank you very much for being a part of today's event. Next, we are going to have a poll. The poll is to talk about our expectations from this session. So my colleagues will share the poll shortly. While we're waiting for that poll, may I ask that we share expectations from this session on the business of nutrition and lifestyle? What do you expect to take away from here? I'm sure you're joining, you came with some things in mind. We'll be glad to know what your expectations are. So if you're on Zoom, please use the chat box to share your expectations. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, use the comment section to share your expectations. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I think we're experiencing a bit of internet challenges this morning, but we would be back up in a bit and then we'll have a short interlude. Thank you very much.
We sincerely apologize for the breaks. The telecommunications network are really not cooperating this morning, but we will get over this challenge, I assure you. So may I ask that everyone shares the expectation, please? We're waiting to see your expectation in the chat box and in the comment. Oh, good. You can see the responses. You expect to know what business opportunities are available. You expect to know more about the
Okay, good morning, everyone. And I'll be taking on, because of internet issues this morning. We apologize once again. We're very happy to have you all on. Thank you so much for joining the session. My name is Tosin Adebusui from New Nigeria Foundation. We also have, we recognize Miss Olushola Showemimo. You're very welcome, ma. And we recognize Mrs. Foluke Adedokun. It's very nice to have you all on. Thank you so much for joining us. So we're supposed to be taking the expectations now, which we have. So we're excited to have you all on. From the chat room, we can see that a lot of people have expectations. We hope we'll be able to meet up with the expectations, and hopefully we don't put facilitators under so much pressure, but we know that, yes, we're in safe and very capable hands. So thank you all for joining the people who expect to know about the business of, to know what the business of nutrition and lifestyle is, and also the business opportunity available for them to expand their knowledge about various aspects of agriculture, including crop cultivation, livestock management, pest, and okay, well, we'll be doing that today. It's part of today's session. And then we have something on nutrition and lifestyle. That's okay. So someone was saying my target is hydroponic farming. We had that yesterday, so you can watch the replay on YouTube. We had Farmer Samson Obole on. Okay, so we would have to delve right into today's session, and once we take the profiles of our guest panelists today, hand over to Mrs. Olaide Adesanya to do justice to engaging our lovely and wonderful panelists this morning. So please let us make welcome via profile reading, which we'll do, profile of our panelists for today. So we'll be sharing screen on that now. Awesome, awesome. Thank you very much. So Miss Olushola Showemimo, Ms. Olushola Showemimo, FIAMN, is a lawyer, public speaker, certified coach, founder, and lead strategist at Okwe Farms. She decided to start a certified organic farm to ensure that those who consume her food get safe, healthy, and nourishing food from the nutrient-rich soil at Okwe Farms. Interesting. So it means we don't have nutrient-rich soil. No, pardon me, that was just a joke. Today, they supply homes weekly from their harvest of tomatoes, kale, lettuce, carrots, cucumbers, and many other crops. Olushola Showemimo has won many awards and recognition, including one from Lagos State this year. You're welcome and congratulations on that, ma. Thank you so much. And then we move to our next panelist for today, Mrs. Foluke Adedokun. Mrs. Foluke Adedokun, the CEO of Fruity World, is a graduate of business administration and management who works briefly in few corporate organizations for about 3 to 4 years at Bioorganics Nigeria Limited and Mandilas Group Limited, amongst others, amongst others, before she pulled out of paid employment to pursue her passion and her personal dream of becoming an entrepreneur. She was also into sales and marketing of notable brands as direct distributor to Dangote Cement and Lafarge Cement companies, after which she eventually started her current business of fruit artistry under the brand name Fruity World as the Chief Executive Officer. You're going to be seeing some really fruit arts here. So just keep your appetites wet, although you have to sort them out yourself at home. Thank you so much. Please let's make welcome in the comment section our lovely panelists today, and I'll hand over to Mrs. Olaide Adesonya to do justice to that. You're all welcome. We're very happy to see you and to have you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tosin, for that introduction. And I'm glad to welcome Mrs. Adedokun and Mrs. Shoemon to this session today. And the session again is on the business of nutrition and lifestyle. And I keep asking myself, business of nutrition and lifestyle. I'm over 50 years old. I've been eating and I'm alive. So what is this business of nutrition and lifestyle? So Mrs. Adedokun, we all try to eat healthy, but for you to devote so much time to the business of fruits and artistic fruits, so to speak, please tell us a bit about lifestyle and how it goes into living good lifestyle while eating fruits and staying healthy. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I need to be sure everybody's hearing me. Am I audible enough? Good morning. I'm super excited to be here. I'm appreciating the organizers of this masterclass. And something has been on me for a couple of times, and I'm glad we are doing this now. Thank you very much for having me. And I'm sorry my background is not what you want it to be. I'm having a bit of a techie issue, on my device, but it's fine. Let's get to it. Immediately I saw this topic, the business of nutrition and lifestyle. I laughed to myself because this is actually me. My business is my lifestyle, right? And my lifestyle is my business. I've come to understand over time that, yes, like you said, Ma, we eat. A lot of us, we eat and then we consume things, be it fluid or solid, right? But I've come to understand over time that most of the time, what we eat isn't healthy, right? And it got to a point in my life where I sat down and I reevaluated my life. That was before I was 40. I sat down and I evaluated my life, that what do I want for the latter part of my year? Because at the time I listened to an interview of an elderly man celebrating his 100th year, and he was interviewed and he was asked that, how come you've been able to stay this fit, healthy and strong for a whole 100 years? And he said he took care of his stomach for the first 50 years. And his stomach, that is his internal system, is now in turn taking care of him for the next 50 years. And so it dawned on me that we are actually what we eat. We are what we eat at every given point in time. So since then, I made it a point of duty that whatever it is I want to consume, I sit down to check the label claim. What's in it for me? If it's what I want to prepare by myself, okay, this is this is that, this is that. When I put everything together, what does it come, to me? And then at a particular point in time in my life, I was strictly on just fruits and vegetables. So it could be smoothies, it could be fresh juice, right? I was strictly on that. And I realized that I was actually better, stronger, fitter. I felt more alive and I was well. There's a difference between you being healthy and being well, right? So I tried that for like a year or two. And before I could, blink, it became my lifestyle. It became my lifestyle so much so that everybody around me, when they see me or I find myself in the garden, she's fit farm, she will not take this, so she will not take sugar, she will not do this. Like I've been off, soda, I've been off carbonated drinks for a very, I don't even know, what soda tastes like now. I've been off it for a very long time. And I can tell you for sure that I'm better off for it. I feel more well. I feel more alive, stronger and fitter, to face my daily challenges and work. And also, my body feels more alive that uh, I have all that you need, all that my body needs to function at optimal capacity. And that's at that point, you know that you are actually well and healthy. And so that was my lifestyle for a couple of years. And then it became part and parcel of me. And then I sat down and I said, hey, why not turn this lifestyle of wellness and health and nutrition into a business? And so that's how I got to where I am today. Thank you very much.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. That's interesting. Very interesting. And for Mrs. Showemimo, you are a lawyer. You have been a human resource consultant. You're a life coach. You've done different things. And I said to myself, she's into farming and it's organic farming. Can you tell us the story of your journey into not just farming, organic farming, and let us know a bit of the difference between regular farming and organic farming? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here. And I must say that this is about my third appearance at the business of agriculture. And one thing that I keep appreciating is that this is one program that has to do with nutrition. Now, my mom died of cancer at the age of 72. It was stage 4. And we didn't have any opportunity to run around and do all the things that most people would normally do. So after her funeral, I went to my sister-in-law in the US. And while I was there, I got an unsolicited mail saying that there was cancer conference in California. And I decided I was going to go. She thought, it's very far, the ticket is high and all of that. I said, don't worry, when I come back, I'll come and eat free food in your house. And that was how I went. And then I got there and realized that we were over 1,000 that came for that particular conference. And of the over 1,000, just about 10% of us didn't have anything to do with cancer. Like we just came to poke nose more or less. But I wanted to find, I needed to know this cancer that everybody talks about and people are just dying all the time. What is it about? And I started speaking with quite a number of the attendees. It was so intense. I ran out. It wasn't the time of when we had all these big phones. So I had to run out to get a recorder. And I must have recorded about 50 people. There was one thing that kept resonating in what they each said. I'm telling you, each person mentioned the food they eat. So what is this food and what is unique about it? They then told me that it was organic food. What is organic food? I then realized that because of their condition, it was extremely important for them not to eat foods that had contamination of either synthetic fertilizer or chemical sprays. And as soon as I did this, I had my light bulb moment. I didn't sleep throughout that night. I said, when I get to Nigeria, I'm going to set up an organic farm. I came back to Nigeria and everybody I told that I wanted to set up an organic farm would look at me like, for real? You will waste money. You will lose all your money. They were right, though. I lost money. I didn't have precedence. I didn't have knowledge. So I was just, you know how when you're groping in the dark, Then come 2017, this was 2013, 2014 that I was struggling. Then in 2017, I attended the World Organic Conference. It was hosted by India. And then got to India and found people doing like 500 acres of organic. I'm like, what? This is something that in Nigeria, we always said it was not possible. So everybody that wanted to mentor me, the first thing they did was to change my mindset that I could not do organic. But fast forward to now, organic is life. I tell you, if you eat organic food, the taste, the feel of it in your system is different. And I'm glad today that I was not deterred. So if there's anyone here craving to do this, that is where the real nutrition is in organic food. That is the food that sustains life. That is the food that makes your body well. Even the FAO is now talking of hunger, hidden hunger. Hidden hunger means we're all eating, but we're still hungry. Our bodies are thirsting for those nutrients that our foods no longer have. I'll share more as we go on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Quite an interesting journey. But thinking organic, it's generally believed that organically farmed produce are a lot higher in terms of costs. You need to pay through your nose to get such. So if I want to go into this business now, how can I find customers? Where are the markets for organically produced products or produce? Thank you.
It's organic. I went to a hospital some time ago and I said, do you know that you are supposed to be my customer? Because when people come into hospitals, they think they're going there to get well, but you're still buying them food from the market. So how are you making them feel better or get better? There is this general notion that organic food is more expensive. In the long run, it will not be expensive. One of the things that you have to invest in seriously is your soil. People don't believe it. Even our vision, our mission statement tells it that we want to grow food from nutrient-rich and dense soil. See, your soil is everything if you want to grow organic. So it might be a bit of a challenge when you first start, because if you have been doing using synthetic fertilizer, you need to wait for 3 years, 3 solid years before your soil can be converted. So that is, first of all, one of the challenges that makes it expensive for people, because sometimes they're forced to go and look for another land. Another thing is that on Okpe farms, for instance, we have to be at least 30 to 40 meters away from the next farm. This is because if it rains, it will leach onto us. So if you choose to do organic farming, the market is there. A doctor told us that when he first started his medicine as an intern in one of the general hospitals, they didn't have kidney ward, they didn't have cancer ward. There were 3 wards they didn't have. Today, they are the thriving ones. Even this medical doctor grows his food at home. So the opportunities are diverse. I'll tell you, there are people who every time, there is hardly a week that somebody is not reaching out to me. Oh, somebody gave me your number. I hear you grow your food organically and you're sincere, because that's another thing. That word organic has been bastardized in this country. So you hear it very often, but many don't even know what it is. There are standards of organic agriculture. There is an association that you can join and can help you to grow, to have your own organic farm. So there is so much to it, but people just brandish that word. So you have in fact, you don't even, people already are looking inwards. Insights on Instagram, for instance, shows that my best customers are between 25 and 45. That tells us a lot. Many now want to eat better, and they're beginning to see the result. I have customers who will call me and say, I had your cucumber and I moved my bowels. If I eat normal cucumber, I'm constipated for days, I'm bloated. So the opportunities are, you can farm it, You can market it, so you can sell for people like us. You can come and say, Okpe Farms, I want to start distributing your product. If you don't have the flair to till the soil, it doesn't matter. You can be an advocate. I mean, this is what I'm doing right now. There are many people who just want to listen. Oh, so if I do this, I can do that. I even started a smaller initiative where I teach people how to grow food at home. Just so that if you say, oh, it's expensive, why don't you grow some of yours at home? And it's intense because there's so many things. We use a lot of labor. We do not use heavy machines. And then we have to do it in portions. There is so much you can do. You can even be a transporter. Yours might be to create a niche. A young lady called me yesterday, and all she wants from me are dried vegetables. She wants to start her smoothie company. And one of the things she wants is my organically grown vegetable dried and sold to her. Then when you run an organic farm, one of the advantages, it's amazing, even I didn't know it at first, is that we have so many herbs. I have herbal practitioners who come and they're just screaming, when last did I see this plant? Because it's an organic farm, there are no chemicals. Do you also know that we have an apiary? So we bottle and sell our own honey. And why? Because there's no chemical to chase the bees away, you know? So there is so much, but your soil is the first expense. You have to make sure that there are and in nature, there's no vacuum. There's hardly anything natural that you cannot use to refertilize, you know, your soil again. So there is, the value chain is very wide. You can even be like my co-panelist here, where all you do is just uptake from us and produce. I mean, we supply salad bars, we supply juice bars, you know. So those are things you can do. Yours could even be to come and take it from us and go and look for them and sell to them. There was a time a young lady was selling only to the embassies. She was just going to the embassies because she knows the expatriates are looking, you know, to eat better. So I can go more into the other areas. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So it's good to know that I don't need to break a bank to eat organic. Thank you very much. Mrs. Adedokun, we're talking about lifestyle, and you say your lifestyle is actually your business. So can you tell us about what fruit styling is all about? And if I'm interested in going into this business, what do I need to do? How do I go about it?
Thank you very much. Before I respond to that question, Mr. Emimo, please, after this time, I'll be buying 50 liters of honey from you, please, right away.
Thank you.
Right away, because we use honey to sweeten our Greek yogurt for our parfait. So that's just by the side. Yeah, sorry, we are doing business in business, but I think this is what it's all about. Business of nutrition.
Yes,
Lifestyle. All right, thank you very much. Okay, like I said, my lifestyle became my business, right? And then I intensified effort on making my business my lifestyle. Like I said earlier, it got to a point where I sat down and I realized that I needed more in terms of wellness and health and loading up my body with nutrient-dense food, right? And gradually, I started moving from the regular food. And like Ms. Raymond said earlier, we are actually eating, but we are still hungry. And what I can interpret that to be is that we are eating, yes, our tummy, our bowels are being filled up with food, but then still our body lacks those nutrients, those phytonutrients that our body needs to thrive on a daily basis so that we can work at optimal capacity. And that's, if you actually do the statistics, and that's what we have now. People eat, but they don't eat well. People eat, and their food is actually deficient of so many nutrients, you know, that's actually needed for the body to function and work well. And so it wasn't a gradual process for me. I'm this kind of person, if I want to do a thing, I do it, I go all out, I go all in, and then I go all the way, right? I delve into it, I'm like, okay, this is it, I've had enough of this, and I want to move. I want to change the narrative of my lifestyle, of my nutrition lifestyle. And so I changed drastically. I moved away. First off, I cut off my soda, I cut off my sugar, I cut off so many things that I know would cause me harm in my health. And then I switched and replaced them with fruits and vegetables. Was it easy for me initially? No, it wasn't. For something that you are not so used to. However, I've always been a fruit and vegetable person from the get-go. But I didn't just pay cognizance to the health benefit that's actually loaded in it. I just, eat fruits in passing, consume vegetables in passing and all that. But it got to a point in my life, like I said, I sat down to actually I realized that if I really want to take my health to the next level, if I really want to lead a lifestyle of wellness and health, I need to change the narrative of my feeding. And so I moved and I delved into a cleaner eating and a more healthier eating by changing the narratives of what I eat, when I eat, right? What I eat and when I eat. And somehow that has affected my business. And I was able to actually move that to my business because people started seeing me, oh, you look different. Oh, you look. Actually, the aim for me then was to reduce my weight because I was actually becoming overweight and I needed to work on it. And then my skin was glowing. A lot of things was changing my physical appearance, my strength, my agility, everything, just changed. And then people were asking, how did you do this? How did you do that? And then the Nigeria factor in me just sprang up. Oh, you can actually, make this and turn this into business. And so I started supplying homes and offices fruit juice, smoothies, parfait, salads, and all of that. And then we metamorphosized to Fruity World. And that actually brought me to fruit styling. Okay. And how did I get into fruit styling, fruit and vegetable styling? At that point in my life, when I wanted to change my narrative, I had the opportunity of attending a dinner party. And at that dinner party, I realized it was a buffet. And I realized that on the buffet setup, there was nothing I could reckon with. I'm sorry. There was nothing I could reckon with. It was just the regulars, that you have on the buffet stand. And I was waiting to see probably maybe yogurt or fruits or vegetables. I thought salad, but it was looking more like coleslaw and not the it's something I couldn't just really reckon with. So I sat down in that gathering that night, hungry, and trust me, that hunger led to frustration for me. I was hungry and angry. That kind of hunger that turns to anger. And then if care is not taken, if that anger is not managed properly, it will lead to frustration. And that was my story that night. I went home, grudgingly and groaning, sort of like, how can this event be this classy with so much poise and finesse and the cream de la cream, and somebody like me do not actually eat, and it dawned on me that yes, my lifestyle is actually needed in the event space. And I started having ideas in my head, pictures started coming to my head. I would sometimes ignore because I had a business that was booming and doing well. Right. I was still enjoying my lifestyle in my corner. Hey, I mean, it has nothing to do with anybody. This is just me having my lifestyle. But then that night keep, playing back in my head that do you know that there will probably be other people in your shoes that night or somewhere else, not even at that event, right? And then it became a burden for me, like a real big burden for me. I would see images in my head. I would imagine things in my head. I'm in my kitchen. I want to whip up smoothies and juice and all of that. And I'll just, find my hand doing stuff. And then it was at that point I realized that there is a bigger calling for me, other than just having, healthy stuff in my kitchen, right? And for my family alone. And I now sat down with myself, to have a rethink and to evaluate my thought process and all the ideas and images that I've been having in my head. At that point, truthfully, I knew next to nothing, nothing at all, nothing at all about fruit styling and fruit artistry. I was an illiterate, in that field. But what I did was that all the ideas I was getting in my head, all the pictures, all the, the pieces in my head, I put them together in words. I can still remember that day vividly. I put all of those pictures, all of those pieces together in my head, and I typed those pieces together to form a phrase. On Google, I just put it on Google, how to make fruits attractive for people at events, how to encourage people to eat at events, how to make people that does not like fruits to like fruits, how to decorate with fruits, how to be artistic with fruits. All of those pieces, all of those things, I put them together in my head. And voila, trust Google to always, be what it is. And then I started seeing images and ideas. And all of those things I was seeing drop down for me on Google were the things I was seeing in my head, but I had no knowledge about. And so that brought me to food styling and artistry. So I would say food styling is the act of taking an ordinary fruit or vegetables from being just ordinary to extraordinary, creating nothing else, nothing less from from fruits and vegetables to something artistic and inviting and encouraging for people to actually consume. And so that was how we started Fruity World. And we started doing stuff, creating memories, creating experiences at events, doing wondrous things with fruit, and putting all of these things you're seeing on the screen right now together. And
Sorry,
we are
Mrs.
here.
Adedoku, can you? Sorry, I just want to tell me if I need to start this business now as a young person or somebody who is looking for a second stream of income or preparing for retirement, and I want to do this artistic fruit as a business. What do I need to do precisely?
Precisely the first thing you need to do is one, be sure you have the passion and the tenacity for it. Two, get trained by a certified fruit stylist. Get trained. There is more to it than meets the eye in food styling business. Get trained by a certified food stylist.
Thank you very much. So, as a young person or as a budding entrepreneur who wants to go into this business, you've been in this business for a while. You're well known, you won awards, you're successful. How have you been able to keep your business running? What is that thing that has allowed you to remain in business? So how can you advise somebody who is starting, who doesn't have so much money? How do I go about it? Thank you.
Okay, like I said initially, first off, my lifestyle became my business. And so it's not always very hard for me to get my hands dirty in the factory when we are working, at our workstation when we are working. This has been my lifestyle. This is what I do. As a matter of fact, my business started from the dining. It started from the dining room. That day, I was just, it was the morning and I was just putting stuff together after my training, of course, putting stuff together and I did a fruit platter and I presented it to the family. The next thing I was hearing, do you know some people want to have this as breakfast? I said, really? Are you sure? And I was like, yes. And after I was getting, yeah, people want to have this as breakfast. I said, oh, wow, fantastic. Okay, let me do some few platters, package them, and then take pictures. Now, I'm trying to answer your questions two in one. I'm telling my story and also answering your question at the same time. Right. So I took pictures of the platters, from the leftover fruit that I have from my platters. I blended them together to make smoothies. Then I took pictures, like a mock-up picture on my dining table, and then I posted it on Instagram and on Facebook. The first day it didn't fly. The second, third day, I started getting messages. Oh, Foluka, are you into this now? Foluka, do you do this now? And I will tell you, for free and with all honesty, that I actually started my business from my car. I started my business from my car. I would hawk my produce, i.e., my salad, my juices, my smoothies, my parfait. When we started making parfait, I didn't know it was called parfait then. It just dawned on me that I could have yogurt, fruits and nuts and all of that and granola in yogurt. I tried it. It was very nice and tasty for me. I did some taste tests with my family and friends. They liked it. And then I was telling it without even knowing its name. Then it was later I got to realize that, oh, this is actually called parfait. After so many years of, learning and unlearning and relearning so many things. And so that was how we started. So start with the little that you have. Rome, they say, wasn't built in a day. The problem a lot of young people have these days is that they want to start big. When you give birth to a child, the child will first learn to sit before the child will crawl, then start holding things, then start standing, then a step, 2 steps, the child start working, then the child start running. It wasn't built in a day. So I started by selling stuff in my car. Okay, start with the little you have. You don't have to start big before you blow. I usually encourage young people that start small, make your mistakes, learn along the line, get mentoring, learn and relearn and unlearn and go through all of those processes. And then before you know what's happening under, a short period of time, you are there, or you are actually on the journey to getting where you want to be. Okay, so I started making juices and all of these things, in my kitchen. I will put them in a chiller, put them in my car, and then when I get calls a day before, oh, we want juice, banks, offices, television houses, within my area, okay? And of course, with the help of my friends and family, they could actually speak for me. Oh, we know this has been our lifestyle, for some time now, and it's actually reflecting in our way of life. Okay, so, and that was how we started. And then one day, somebody just called us, oh, we have an event. Can you come do stuff for us? And then from 1 event to 2 events to 3 events, and then having multiple events in a day. And we can only say to God be the glory for how far He has helped us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that insight. Thank you. And for Mrs. Shoma, I was wondering, organic farming, it's something many people would love to do. But in terms of access to finance to start, it might be an issue. So without so much money, we don't have $1 million, we don't have hundreds of thousands to invest. How can a young person start this business, and how have you been able to sustain your business in spite of this economic environment?
Thank you very much. For the purpose of those who are on the call, who probably don't even know what organic agriculture is, let me read you the definition that was formulated by IFOAM. IFOAM is the general body for organic for all over the world. All over the world is IFOAM that manages organic agriculture. Now, IFOAM says it is that organic agriculture is a production system that sustains the health of the soil, the ecosystem, and the people. Then it also relies on the ecological processes like biodiversity, the cycles adapted to local conditions, rather than the use of inputs and, of course, adverse effects. Now, organic agriculture also combines tradition, innovation, and science to benefit this shared environment and then promote fair relationships and good quality of life for all that is involved. It also has 4 principles that guide it. Many do not know. There is a principle of health, the principle of ecology, the principle of fairness, and the principle of care. So when you take health, you're talking about the health of the people who eat it, the health of the soil where you're even growing the food, the health of those who are going to eat the food that you are growing. So there is so much to this. And of course, the ecology. If you love the ecology, you can't spray it with chemicals and destroy it because there's so many microbes in that soil yearning to give you the best they can. So you can't afford to kill them off. And of course, there is fairness. Fairness, for instance, we have a poultry. We have a poultry where we raise livestock. And we do not, I'm telling you, we do not use any synthetic antibiotics or drugs. Everything they take is natural herbs and things that we mix. Now, that fairness means that you have to be fair to the livestock. You have to be fair to your workers. You have to be fair to the soil. There is so much. So when you choose to go into organic farming, you need to know what it is, first of all. How do you know what it is? It means that knowledge is so fundamental. You can't achieve much if you don't have the knowledge. And of course, the dedication, the passion, because you must have a why. So I have a why. My mom died of cancer at the age of 72, and she was eating. Now I know better. Now I know that probably, I can safely say that probably over 80% of what we're eating, might not be nutritious, might not be feeding our bodies the way we want it. So when you choose to go into organic agriculture, I didn't have that privilege, but we've had many people who come to intern. You probably need to stay about, maybe, in fact, there's a program that is called WOOF, is Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms. It's called WOOF and is managed by Slow Food in Nigeria. It gives you the opportunity to even just go and try your hands out first before you're convinced that, oh, this is what I want to do. The reason, I've had a lady who, she just called me up and said, Ma, can I follow you to your farm on one of these days? And I'm just going to spend the whole day with you, as in pretend I am not there. And I said, why? She said, I want to see what you're doing and how you're doing it to enable me make up my mind if this is what I want to do. I mean, that was amazing. So if with the very little you have and you have gained knowledge, I would say you can even start from your home. There was a young man I followed for about 2 years. I don't know how I lost track. Do you know that he was growing lettuce in the balcony of his parents? And he was supplying people because he had built, he had used bottles or some kind of bowls and he made them lateral. And there he was growing lettuce and supplying. I had an intern who came to my farm. He was with us for quite a bit. He's relocated to Canada now. Do you know that after he left us, he was taking our lettuce and selling to people? Now, if you do that, you will be building traction. People will know you. You wouldn't have to start like me when my co-panelist was speaking, when she said she started from her car. You will be surprised that I once had to take things to Oyinbo market to go and sell because I just didn't know who will buy. And guess what? It was that was when I had the wake-up call that if I'm putting all this effort into what I'm growing, and then I end up selling it in a local market, how will people know? How would I differentiate? And that was why I now moved to a shopping center where, ironically, we now own a store. But that was where we started. We'll put up our brolly and put up the harvest from the day before and then sell to people. It was at that place that people started asking, where's your store? Why can't you just, deliver this to us in our homes? And that was how we started. If you see the photos now showing, the first one there, that was BBC. I was stunned. A lady calls me up and says, organic in Nigeria? That's very rare. Would like to come and interview you. And I said, and who may I be speaking with? And the lady said, oh, it's Rosalind Collier from BBC. I thought, this must be, it must be a scam. But it wasn't a scam. After she came, France 24 came. Then we now have interns who come, and I think they're the ones I love the best, I love the most, because they want to know. Okay, they've been through university. In fact, there was a time we had about almost 30 people from the university who came to just come and learn. They said the university didn't expose us to organic agriculture. We would like to learn it ourselves. So they come. And then, of course, the sleep tea you see there, every ingredient of that tea is from an organic farm, our farm. So your niche could be, I want to create a product and market that product and run with it and let it be on every table in every home. We were invited to the very first GT fair, the food fair they had. And one of the chefs who they brought in from America kept shouting to everybody, I saw an organic farm on the list. I need to meet the lady. And that's the lady and her husband who I'm speaking with in the middle photo there, the highest one. And of course, the middle one shows our guys when we finish harvesting and we're bringing it to Lagos to deliver to our Lagos clients. Then I had talked about the honey, because the farm, everything is together. The bees are there. Of course, I've seen people say things like, oh, are you going to tell us how to manage pests and all? We will get to that. Even Ogun State, I remember a commissioner for Agri called and said, when she told them in her office that there's an organic farm in Ogun State, they all said, no, they've never heard of that. She said, okay, you people are not on social media. And via social media was how she came. The next one shows the ginger and turmeric that we've planted this year. Some of you may have heard that in Kaduna right now, they've lost all their ginger because the soil had been contaminated. And so ginger is going to be very expensive. And I remember the guy said, oh, you planted ginger. Do you have the same problem? I don't have the same problem, because like I told you earlier, my soil is the biggest investment in that place. And of course, if you look below, you will see our production of kale. So when people tell you, oh, you can't do this thing on large scale, it's not true. Don't let anybody deter you from achieving what you actually deeply want to do. The day we achieved this kale, I stood in the middle of that place and I said, Mom, this is to you. Because when she fell ill, one of the first things they asked us to be serving her was kale. At that time, kale wasn't even grown in Nigeria. It was imported into Nigeria. So that is it, organically grown. And of course, we know that for those who are managing their cancer, this is the real deal, not the one that has seen chemical or synthetic fertilizer. Thank you. So with a little, just start small. If it's in your house, like I said, start in the balcony. Start practicing, start learning. Get a mentor, do an internship, because I would tell you for free, inorganic is not something you jump onto. You must learn it first and understand it. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you to our panelists. This has been really eye-opening and very interesting. Thank you very much. We'll have a short break now, and next we'll be going to the Q&A session.
Thank you.
You're welcome back. Thank you very much for staying tuned. I'm sure you know that this is a place to be for the next 36 hours. This is on today, we're on tomorrow, and you will not regret spending your time with us. Thank you very much for being a part of this. So very quickly, within the time available, we want to take some of the questions here. And the first one says, I'm expecting funding from my agribusiness and other business opportunities. No, that's not a question. Okay, says, are organic label claims being regulated or legislated in Nigeria? If so, which agencies regulate and certify organic products in Nigeria? That's for you, Mrs. Showen.
Sadly, and very, very sadly, because every time I look at the SDG goals, I know that this particular initiative is built all around the second one and the 11th one. And the second one specifically states sustainable agriculture. I don't see that in Nigeria. We don't even have a policy on organic agriculture in Nigeria. You know, when they say you put your mouth where your money is or something like that, we do not have anything official. But we have NGOs, and the particular one that I know very well is NOAN, is the Organic Agriculture Practitioners of Nigeria. And they have been in existence for quite a number of years now, probably 2013, I'm not very good with that figure. And through them, it was when I then discovered them that I started meeting like-minded people. And they're in very many states in Nigeria. So you can join the association. I would quickly look for the PRO and drop her number so that if people want to join that association, they can then join the association. But Nigeria does not have an organic agriculture policy. It is not something we drive. You know, we are very good with the conventional farmers, and we tend to leave the organic farmers behind. And yet, on the other hand, we want to believe that we are pushing the sustainable development goals. It's an irony. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have another question from a group that is into greenhouse farming. It says, we would like to know how we can diversify into organic farming. What kind of crops can we plant, and how easy is it to get into the market for organic foods?
Okay, let me start with the first one, which is the market. You know, for you to break into any market, you need to do your thorough research. Your market research has to be top-notch. Some of us started the other way around. I started producing and then started looking for the market. But now, when I either hold strategy sessions with people or coach them, I tell them, find your market first. So you need to find your market because your location matters. I know a lady who at one time was growing and she was very good at it. But where she wasn't in an area where there could be markets because they just look at her like, you know, what is she talking about? Now, there's nothing you want to grow that you cannot grow organically. Trust me. The first time I did onions, I was so excited because number one, we had this mindset that onions, carrots, you know, there's some of these things only grow in the north. But now I know better. So please know that, find your market. What does your market want to eat? Or what do their market want to take from you? Then that will be what you will produce. But there is nothing you want to produce in organic agriculture that you cannot produce. Every food.
I have a number of questions about pest control. How can I control pests through organic farming or on my organic farm? So if it's organic, we have challenges with using chemicals. Well, how can they go about it?
You know, this is where knowledge actually comes in. Just last week, Saturday, I trained for a nutrition company, and many of those who came for that training wanted to start growing food at home. And I told them, I said, the one thing that may deter you will be pest control. But do you know, and I think many people here may not know, the richer your soil, the less the pests you have to manage. So that investment in your soil is number one. But most people just hear that, oh, they don't use chemicals, they don't use synthetic, and then you start growing food. Meanwhile, you have not invested in a very rich soil. Another thing is that for people like us, you have to keep feeding your soil. You know, you have to keep feeding your soil with organic matter. Do you know that almost every waste from your kitchen that is natural is an organic matter? Just put it back in the soil. For instance, we do sweet corn 24/7. And every time we harvest the sweet corn, for instance, the stalk, the skin, because some supermarkets will say, I may remove the skin for us. Everything that comes from it, we chop it, we put it into water, we let it ferment, we put it back into the next batch of sweet corn. These are things you do because you've learned it. So you will have pest problem, but guess what? There are also so many natural things. Do you know that common papaya, the purple leaf, I used to have one behind me, that was why I was looking for it. Common purple leaf, let it stay in water overnight. You can do like maybe 5 kg to 5 liters of water and cover it up. Within 24 hours, it becomes pesticide for you. You can dilute with water, maybe a ratio 1:5, and use. The dongoyaro tree, the one we know as neem, that dongoyaro tree, and I know some of us, when we're growing up, once you say you have malaria, you're in trouble because they're going to go and give you dongoyaro to drink. But guess what? The same dongoyaro leaf, soak it in water overnight, remove the leaves. In fact, the leaves, you can turn it back into your soil and use it to spray. So, I mean, there are so many simple things, almost too simple to believe, that people like us then wonder, why must it always be chemicals? And if you want to grow from that small size into bigger size. So it's easier when you start growing to now divide your places into little plots or acres so that you can manage what you are doing. But pest management, it is easier than we think. For instance, if there's any plant that animals don't eat, trust me, it is a pesticide. Because if they don't eat it, it means that this one, it might be a bit poisonous or it's not good for us. But you dilute it with water. Even tobacco leaf. I remembered when I first started and I had cucumbers and I was worried because the cucumber beetles had come. I didn't know what to do. And then I just called someone and I said, well, I'm not organic, but they say that tobacco leaf works. And I had tobacco leaf on my farm. I just took the leaf, put it in water, and sprayed. They were burnt. They all got burnt, as in it was too potent. So I have learned that those kind of things, you dilute them and use bit by bit. There are so many ways to combat pest management when you choose to grow organically.
Thank you so much.
Please seek the knowledge first.
Thank you. And in seeking the knowledge, we have many people asking questions about internship opportunities. Do you take interns? Do you train people on your farm? These are things that people would like to know. In 30 seconds, just tell us internship and training opportunities.
Yes, we take interns. If they're in the university, it's free. But if there are people who want to set up their own farms, then they have to pay. And we always encourage that at least they budget about 6 weeks. But guess what? Our farm is a real farm. We're not in a tush place. You have to shift your mindset that you want to live among the locals, So you'll be very careful. Don't just jump onto it because, you have to come down as in real village style life. Yes, we take interns. If there are students who are in university, it's free. We take them for free. But if you are going to start a farm or you want to start growing, then you pay for that knowledge. Thank you.
Okay. I would advise that you please tell us or post the location of your farm in the chat box so people will know where you're located. And very quickly, Mrs. Adedokun, we have somebody who is asking a question about your business. It says, backward integration helps to reduce costs to a large extent. Do you have a fruit farm that supports your Fruity World business? And then what is number or minimum combination of fruits that I can use to start this business? Mr. Adedokun, please.
Thank you very much. We do not have a farm. We buy our fruits from the market and we buy directly. We don't buy from those reselling in the market. We buy directly from those that are bringing from the farm. So this is what we do. We use loads of fruits on large scale for our juice production, and this is what we do. We get to the market. We know the best time we go to the market is very early in the morning. This is when these trucks are coming in from the farm. And so we get our fruits directly from those coming from the farm, not from people selling in the market. I think that answers that. Sorry, please, what's the second question?
What's the minimum number of fruits you can combine in starting this business? That's
You can start with as much as
if you want to
you
do
want.
maybe a fruit art now.
We work with all types of fruits. We work all of the fruits. Each of the fruits have the effect and the vibe that they bring into our presentation. Your watermelon, you can use them for carving. The pineapples, we use them for our fruit trees. The grapes, the strawberries, the kiwi, and all of these things they all have different kind of feelings and vibes they bring into our presentation. So you don't do selective when you're trying to go into fruit styling. You work with all types of fruits available to you.
Very quickly,
Thank
can you
you.
answer? Somebody asked, starting business, preserve your fruits, and for how long can it be preserved, considering that fruits are perishable? And what are the tools that people need to start this business?
Okay, talking about preservation, our fresh fruit juice are without preservatives, no additives, no sugar, no water, no coloring, no food color, no nothing. You just have your juice squeezed out, your fruit squeezed out, and then you get the shaft out, and then we get what's it called now? The juices out. And the only way we preserve our fresh fruit juices is by freezing. And then we move from our workstation to our venues in our chillers. And then when we get to our venue, we display in the transparent fridge with the transparent door. And so that's how we preserve our juices. And so when we produce, immediately we throw into the freezer. We spend so much on power to sustain, power energy in our workstations. So and for the tools, our tools are countless. They are numerous. We have so many things that we work with, the cutter, the crinkle cutter, so many things. So when you come for training, we'll enlighten you more as simple and as small as a small knife is, carving knife is. So many things that we improvise on that we use for our fruit styling. So we can mention all here now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, we have so many questions left, but due to time constraints, we cannot take our questions anymore. But just before we go, for Mrs. Shoenumo, somebody asks, how much do I need to start an organic farming business? And that's a final question. How much to start an organic farming business? Thank you.
When you talk of farming, you're talking of land. So you have the option of either leasing land. Leasing is probably the cheapest that can allow you to start. But as I had said earlier, just start small, even if it's within your home. Try your hands at that. It's almost difficult to give you a figure, but I would say that if you already have land, then of course, it's cheaper. If you don't have land, it means you have to buy. And the reason why many farms are usually in the outskirts is because the land there is cheaper. So I do not know your location. If anybody wants land, say in Ogun State, towards the Abeokuta side, haven't been in a community for almost 10 years, I tend to introduce people to others who sell. I don't sell land, but I know of that. Now, once you do that and you have your market, I mean, these are things that are very important. Then you can decide on which of the produce you actually want to start with first. So if you have found market for vegetables, then you start with your vegetables. As you start that, you may get other ideas and other patronage that would make you increase. But one thing I tell everybody, agroforestry is key. If the land is yours, then you must grow fruit trees. You will be amazed that when you're waiting for maybe something to be ready and the fruiting time comes from your fruit trees, you are honestly blessed with abundance of fruits that you can call people like Mrs. Adedoku and say, Madam, you were on that program, I have fruits for you, and I've grown mine organically. So it's difficult for me to say, to put a fixed price and say, oh, you need this much, because we're talking about land, and I don't know how much land you really would want to. But we can talk after now, because your location matters. If you're in the north, for instance, you can lease land for 50,000 naira for a whole acre, but you wouldn't get that coming south. So it's a bit difficult to give you a blanket, but you can reach out and maybe it's something I can share with you further after today. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. This has been quite interesting. So for our panelists, you have been amazing. Thank you for sharing your information, your story with us, the new insights. Many of us are gingered, we're ready, raring to go. We're coming to join you. Thank you for the opportunity for internship. We cannot thank you enough. And for our online participants on Zoom, on Facebook, on YouTube, you are an amazing group. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We cannot thank you enough. And so we're drawing a curtain on a presentation on the business of nutrition and lifestyle. Thank you very much. But the session continues. Next, we would have a session on the business of agro-logistics and market linkages, and also another one on feather, fur, and fortune, unlocking profits in livestock ventures. This is our opportunity to work to blow. We're starting a second stream of income. We're starting our agri businesses, and the sky is just the beginning. So I thank you for being a part of this. Thank you, our panelists. Thank you, our participants. And thank you for the technical crew. You have all been an amazing group. Thank you. God bless you all. And so I say bye for now. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
There's a story to be told, a future to behold. There is more to who we are than what they see. We have love within our soul, fire in our bones. We've got everything it takes to make it here. There's much more within our soil, more than just our oil. We can grow the food to feed the whole world spread. Agriculture is the key. There's treasure in the trees. The time is now, the land is green, wealth is here. This is our nation, this is our land. Nigeria is ours, we have everything we need. If we could only see, the time is now, the land is green, wealth is here. There are 200 dreams, and is able to begin us back and change the world. I see no face in everywhere, from Mama to the Kaduna, the land is green. This is our nation, this is our land. Nigeria is ours, we have everything we need. Time is now. Take a look around, from the north to south, there are opportunities to make it clear. Nobody know your spring is too good overseas. Tell me how you'll ever know that royalty's there. Oh, this is our nation, this is all I know. But you will see time is now. So pass on the light, pass on the top. Nigeria is ours. So this is our nation, this is our Nigeria is ours, we have everything. People don't see the time now.